Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was not ready, obviously, but it's okay. I'm ready now, I suppose. So we're talking about maintaining relationships, and this came from the conversation last week, which we were actually talking about. Can you buy commitment? And the important thing about that was that you can. You will have to buy that commitment for the duration, but you can. So, welcome to Question Time Live. We have a new show every Wednesday at 9 p.m. It's either raining or there's a bug attacking the window behind me. Not sure which one. Anyway, so um, yes, there we go. Hmm, that's weird. So we will. There we go. Control C. Sorry. So we'll be talking about maintaining a relationship, and people were very interested in it. I am, man, I guess I've been watching a lot of stuff on TikTok, and it's the weirdest thing to me because people are in these relationships. People are like admittingly saying that they don't like who they're in a relationship with, so they cheat. Or a lot of people are like, you know what, I could just get a polyamorous relationship or a polygamous relationship and be happy because you're not going to find what you're looking for in just one person. And I completely disagree. Yes, I can. There we go. Sorry, y'all. So that is another reason I'm like excited about this topic. If you want to join the live, please like, share, subscribe, watch on YouTube. That would be the greatest support for the show. YouTube as opposed to Facebook. Um, and that's on the Raw News No Fluff. Here, I can show you better than I can tell you. It's going to be on the Raw News No Fluff YouTube page. So I don't know why I sound like this, but I'm just going to pretend like it's my sexy voice. We're going to call it a day. Okay. Okay. So, yes, watch it on YouTube for me. Um, oh, I just see the top of your face. Welcome everybody. I just keep having, oh my gosh. How many kids you planning on having? Legit.
I don't know, 10.
You know we have plenty of people in the family, right? You ain't gotta keep the Oliver name alive. It's
At
plenty
this
alive.
point, you got to talk to Alina.
That's how many she wants.
I mean, she said we can't stop at 6, so we definitely have a number 7.
I'm just gonna come over there and visit y'all sometime next week. That's what I'm just gonna do.
Pull
And we'll
up.
talk with her. So, how are you, Danielle? Dr. Justin, if you're nasty, which is what I usually say.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. So, maintaining relationships, like I said previously, is a direct result of what we were talking about last week. And um, I don't know. It's a lot. Feel free to ask your own questions. Um, and just address things that you've heard. So, like I said, I have been watching a lot of stuff on TikTok and YouTube, not YouTube, but TikTok, Instagram, and people are like, I'm just going to do polygamy. I'm just going to be a polygamous relationship and make it easy because I'm not finding what I'm looking for in just one person. Your thoughts on that? Don't
Oh,
know.
you want me to say? Okay.
Both of y'all, both.
Both. All right. So, yes, I have heard the same. I have definitely heard the same because I guess women are looking for things in a man. Like, they expect them to be, their lover and their best friend, be able to talk to them like they're their friends.
Right.
Um, and sometimes you can't talk to your man like he's your girlfriend. You can't.
You said you cannot?
Sometimes you can.
Okay. Interesting.
Especially because some men don't like to do the gossiping thing and, hearing you talk about this person and that person.
Oh, you mean like that? Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they don't, they like my neighbor, her husband, he be shutting her down all the time. No. Go call. Mm-mm.
That's well, yeah. I mean, sometimes shoot, I don't want to hear it. But okay. So you think it's okay for people you think polyamory or polygamy it makes sense for the time?
Um, it can make sense, but I don't know if it makes sense for me.
But,
I don't like to share.
hello.
I'm stingy. Maybe that's my toxic trait, but I'm stingy.
What are we both toxic, sis? We both toxic. To the married person, how do you feel? You want another wife?
I don't even know if I can handle another wife. And I think, everybody's different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, in my opinion, just kind of take what we talked about last week, that little phrase. In my experience,
Mm-hmm.
my thoughts right now is to study one person. I can only focus on one thing. Like, to be really, really efficient, like I can only study one thing. And to bring other females or other partners in the mix, I don't think I would be comfortable with that. And also, especially, it also depends on what kind of relationship you're trying to have. Like, sometimes for a lot of guys, having the fantasy of multiple women sounds really, really cool for certain acts, but that's it. It doesn't really go past just the surface. It doesn't really go past sex. And for me personally, I'm really not at this point. Yeah, sex is cool, but I want to go a little deeper, to really remain happy and to be really, really fulfilled in a relationship. So I could only study one person.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're always evolving, especially if you're like a person who always trying to progress and evolve and trying to grow. You're like 6 months from now, each one of us is probably going to be into something a little different, something new. We're going to want to try something new. So if I'm always changing, my wife is always changing, like, yo, I got to learn something else that she likes. And it's just more just to handle. So for me, I'm just I can only focus on one thing. You throw other people and you throw other females in there, like that's just too much.
Okay, like legit. What my love language is attentiveness. I know they say there's only 5.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking sneak it. Mine is attentiveness. Know me. Know what I like to eat. Know what buttons I have. I always push the good ones. But like I want you to know me because you want to know everything about me. Not in an obsessive way, but in a loving, like this person is amazing. Like actually, honestly, how I feel you look at Alana. Like that kind of way. So for me, I want to do the same with my guy. And I don't have time. That's why I don't understand how people like date multiple people and expect to narrow it down to one person. Like you can't because you don't know enough about. You're talking to 7 people. How the heck do you know which one's qualities overshadow the others? How do you truly know? Because yeah, you're still being super surface with everybody. You haven't gone deep with nobody.
Spreading
So
yourself thin.
say again.
Spreading yourself thin.
Right. And then your
To
nose happy.
piggyback
What you do?
to piggyback off of Mr. Just Keep Having Kids. That's such a long name.
You know,
Um, but
like,
to piggyback off of what he said, you see like how he was talking about also with the sex aspect. even with that, some men, it sounds fun, it sounds cool, but are you really capable of pleasing both women? Because you have to be attentive to both people. And even in polyamory. So I listened to this other podcast, um where they said polyamory and polygamy is a rich man sport, right?
Oh, for sure. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
the
a rich.
riches in the Bible had multiple wives. The one of the poor ones that had multiple wives was the rich
That's
one.
what I told.
You understand?
That's what I told a friend of mine who's like, "Oh yeah, polyamory and poly." I said, "Yeah, that's a rich man sport because you literally have to be able to provide the same lifestyle for each of these women. You have to." And the guy who was on it, who actually practices polygamy, he said, "You have to really be able to pour into both of these women the same way." And to me, especially in our society, because of course those types of lifestyles can happen more overseas because of the fact that especially in this country, you're living to work.
You're right.
So here,
Some of us.
when you take into cut when you take into oh, okay, so sorry. All right. When when you're living to work, you don't like if you're going to work every day, right? You're coming home, going to work, and sorry, going to work, then coming home. If you're pouring all this effort into your relationship with that one woman, with your kids with that one woman, how do you have time? If you're actually pouring into your relationship, the what you should be pouring into it, how do you have time to entertain anyone else? Because that means that you're now taking away from that woman.
Girl. So I had a 9 to 5, an actual 9 to 5 once in my life, like a regular 9 to 5. Never again. Lord willing, never again. Because, and this is where, this is, and for those of you that have a 9 to 5, this is important. How the heck do they maintain a relationship? You wake up at 6 to get to work by 8. You get off at 5 to fight traffic to get home by 6, 6:30. You want to go to sleep by 10. I don't have
You
time for
cooking, you come home, you
hours.
cooking dinner, because now
Right.
both of you guys are working,
I
cooking
don't
dinner.
have time for you. You don't have time for me.
You have to work extra hard.
How do you maintain a relationship with that?
You
Anybody?
have to you have to work extra hard to be intentional about each other, and that's how it works. You have to be
You gonna do
extra
this?
intentional about spending time with each other. It takes extra work, and that's why I say that polyamory and polygamy, if you're two people who work 9 to 5, that don't work. Now if you a rich man with old money and you
Which
have the money to pour into these women, where you don't have to go to work 9 to 5 and they don't have to go work 9 to 5 because you have businesses that have, passive income and stuff like that, where you have the time to pour into these women, then absolutely I will be one of these wives. Okay. Listen, I tell you, I'm still waiting for my Arab prince to come and steal
sign
me
me up
away.
to. Sign me up to.
Oh my goodness. But and that is very very interesting. And again, it sounds like when people in those type of relationships, they have a purpose. Like again, like even if I am a super super rich man and I feel like I want to have more women, like again, I'm not going to look at those women as, hey, I want to connect with you on an emotional level, on a spiritual level. I'm not looking at them like that. So they really just kind of serve a purpose, and that's just me being straight up honest, just looking at it from just from outside looking in. They just serve a purpose. Maybe I want to
Correct.
serve you and buy you all this stuff. You're gonna have some kids for me, carry on my lineage. But as far as me connecting one on one on a deeper level, that's not happening.
And that's what happened with all those kings who had all those wives. He would always have either a favorite or have a concubine that he actually emotionally connects with.
And then all the other ones ended up hating the favorite,
Exactly.
which baffles me on how King Solomon made. Like he was just picking people. You my wife. I'm never gonna see you. But tell the people you my wife. Go, go.
You my wife. I'm gonna make you a couple babies. to keep you entertained over there.
I'm going to show this one. Could it be easy to maintain with another partner, and how?
So, hold on. Would it be more
It
difficult?
says, wouldn't it be more or
I think you
different
highlighted the
problems
other
with
one.
just another partner? Yeah, it could be.
But the question is, could it be easier? Could it be less problems?
I can see how some people would say it could be less problems because essentially you could try to pick a fight with this one just to be able to get signed with the other one.
But that's another problem. That's still a problem.
No,
Could
no,
be a
no. But when
problem.
I say whenever you basically, whatever one, like, because we were talking about this the other day too. Like, oh, if you don't feel like cooking and cleaning and whatever, and you don't feel like giving up the booty tonight, this one's available.
Right.
Because some women, especially some women, are not very, sexual or whatever the case is. So, if you're not feeling like giving it up tonight, then the other one is available. And I'll be like, I'll do the cooking tonight. Y'all go ahead.
I feel like it could be less problems
It could
and
be.
less difficult if you have one of the people doesn't work at all. That person is solely for the house. You cook, you clean, you take care of my kids and her kids, or his kids and his kids, whatever the case may be. And they have that understanding that you have no requirements to leave the house. You have no requirements to work 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock, then come home and do this, that, and the third. All you do is take care of the house. And the two of us and the other two people will go do their thing. I think that would be one way it could be less problems or less difficult. Yes.
I mean, it
And
sounds like you just
that's the
got it
reason.
made. I mean, I could hire
Right.
one of those.
And she said,
But I
concubine.
mean, this is none of my business. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I have
Right.
no, I got no opinion. I don't know.
I
I
do
don't know
not
how to.
approve this message. I am excluded from this conversation. I plead the fifth.
Right. One, two, three, four, fifth. So okay. Um, okay, scenarios. One partner, how do you maintain the relationship? How do you maintain the relationship in a positive manner? One partner is always too busy, whether they work a lot or they have to deal with the kids or whatever it is. Because kids have sports, they have extracurricular activities at school. Sometimes they study a lot, whatever it may be. How do you maintain when one partner is too busy?
I think Dr. Jackson, she hit on it. She said, "Intent. You got to be intentional. Like you going whatever you make a priority on, that's what you're gonna prioritize. So if you prioritize this relationship, you're gonna make time, no matter how busy we all get. Yeah, I mean, in my experience, right? I got a wife. I have 6 children. And so, yeah, my life is crazy busy. There's stuff going on all the time, but at the same time, that's why a structure and a schedule is very, very important. My children are in bed by 7 o'clock, 6:30 if it's a good night. That way, me and my wife, Alina, get our time from 7 to 9. That's our time. Do whatever we want, and after that, that way she feels fulfilled. Whether we having a conversation, we reading together, we watching a movie, whatever, some type of date night. That's her time with me because my schedule is busy. Like I'm always doing something. I'm always working on businesses and stuff like that. And so, but I know, this all can really crumble down if I don't have a strong woman at the house holding things down. Like I can build this really sky high, but if this side is there's no foundation, this is really just crumble, and that's very, very important to me. And so I make sure I water that grass over there, I water that garden, and make sure my wife is cool.
Right.
And I just make that intentional time. So yeah, I'm very, very busy, but I'm very, very intentional with my time with her and the children.
So the short answer would be scheduling.
Yes.
Okay. If something rocks that schedule, do you have something like is there an issue? Because you know how you get used to something, it's all the time, it's regular. You're like, okay, it's consistent. He gonna bring me flowers right now, and if he don't show up, do y'all have like? Do you think there should be something in place for that, or how do you maintain? How do you control that situation?
Like spontaneity, that type of thing.
Not necessarily. Well, that's that also, but not necessarily. I mean, with the like, say you have to work and you can't get, you're not done until 9 p.m.
Okay.
or 8:30. How
Yeah.
does that like? How do you?
Yeah. So in that case, communication is key. And hopefully I filled up that love tank enough to say, hey, babe, I know usually I'm, work is going to go later today, but hopefully this is the only time it happens. And then we can, carve something out a little later another day. Right.
Mhm.
Or, like just say 5 months ago, I had another child. Right. So that was a big adjustment. Like things just changed again. And so I had to move some stuff around.
Mhm.
But and I think, like I said, if the communication is there, like it's only going to be for this certain time period that it's going to be crazy like this, and then we'll be back to normal. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I think that helps. Does that make sense?
Yeah. How do you maintain a relationship where one partner will enjoy sex and the other one doesn't?
Man, so usually, but here's the thing. Here's what I
Yeah, I was like,
realized.
wait a minute, wait a
Hey, let's
minute,
get
wait
into
a.
it.
There's no
Here's what I
maintaining that,
realized.
baby. Go ahead.
There's one person, yeah, probably enjoys it more, but the other person enjoying something else. Just like how you say your love languages are.
Hmm.
Like the thing that kind of unlocked my marriage is when I understood what my wife's love languages were, and I started tapping into those. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so like quality time and just quality time, words of affirmation,
I think that's
gifts.
all females. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but that's hers.
No, I
And
mean words
so
of affirmation. I think that's important to most females.
yeah. And so once I start
You know,
tapping
you
into
want to be
those,
told you look good. Just fix your face. Go ahead.
but definitely, and acts of service and quality time is my wife's top two, right? So if I'm washing the dishes, I'm good. If I'm rubbing her back, I'm good. If I'm just in a conversation, I'm actually looking at her and listening and responding, I'm good. And so you tap into that. And so then when it's time for sex, I'm good because I filled that love tank up. And so just understanding like how, everybody likes sex, you know what I mean? But I think everybody gets there a different way, you know?
Everybody gets the emotional part of sex a different way.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. You made a face quickly. How do you work? How do you maintain? Like you love each other. You know what I'm saying? You dig each other, whatever. But one partner just doesn't like sex as much as the other. And I actually know someone that's like that. I know three people that are
I
like.
know. I know lots of people like that. Actually,
So
I do
how do they
psychiatry.
maintain their relationship? What do
You
they do?
know, I I do psychiatry. That's why when I say words of affirmation don't really click with me, because words are talk. Because to me, and that's just me. That's why it's not one of my top. It's. I mean, yes, I like all five, but it's not one of the top ones for me because me actions speak louder than words. So talk can be cheap sometimes. That's that's just me.
Okay.
Because my top ones are
But we
quality
didn't talk
time.
about your love languages. We
I
talked
know,
about
huh?
how your friends maintain when one person don't like sex and the other person does.
Conversation.
She said, I don't know.
No, like honestly, because they just have to, and this is what all like sex therapists will also say that they have to find, just like what Mr. I Keep Having Kids said, they have to really tap into something else that is key to them, you know. Because, for example, some people can just hop into and be like, "Yep, I'm there." Sometimes with some women, and a lot of women, foreplay for them starts in the morning. Like it starts with a conversation throughout the day. Then it starts, and then, throughout the day, you send like text messages or something. Then possibly like you coming home and he's at the stove cooking, or, oh, the dishes are washed, the laundry's done. You're like, oh,
Right, right.
like, oh my God, hi,
You love me
papi.
so much.
Oh my God, I love you. Okay, I'm on the bed.
So the important thing is that one, you need to
Tap
be
into what, yeah, you have to tap into what gets them there. Because I have also met women who they don't particularly like sex. They don't.
mhm,
And sometimes it might be linked to a trauma.
right.
So for them, it's kind of them having to go to therapy and unpacking that trauma first before they can actually unlock it.
And it's also like you know what you want me to call you, man?
How do I change my name?
No, no, no. You can leave your name, but what do you want me to call you? My guy. I'm gonna call you my
We
guy.
gonna
My
we
guy.
gonna call him kids.
All right,
Kids. Just call
kids.
me
That works. That
kids.
works. So, like
Kids.
kids said, it's like you have to. And even if somebody has a trauma, what you have to do is break down that wall. You have to make them comfortable. You have to make them assured
Vulnerable.
that
Make
you
them safe being
vulnerable,
vulnerable with
that
you.
you are considering them, you're thinking about them, you're concerned with them, and you want them to be satisfied primarily so that you can be satisfied, not necessarily on a secondary level, but on a primary for you, secondary to them. I dig it. How do you maintain a relationship when the in-laws are all in your business?
Tell them to get out.
That basically
You have to
that's really
leave
what
me
it is.
alone.
You need to leave all these outside forces out of your relationship, and
You
that's what
can't
it
say
is.
you gonna say it like that?
That's
So
Exactly. Absolutely. No, you're not.
look, you know, um, you got to leave and cleave. That's a real thing. But the both parties, the man and the woman have that understanding. Like, yo, this is what we're doing. Like, we gotta build our foundation strong.
And I
You know
want
what I
to
mean?
emphasize a word in that. This is what we
Yes,
are doing.
we
We.
we it has to be has to be communicated efficiently. Like, yo, like we can't leave any leaks. Yo, we this is what we're doing. We're a unit now, and so whatever decisions that we decide, it doesn't matter what other outside voices try to come and I say I'll take advice, but it's still up to me and my wife to make the decision ultimately, right? And when I don't need your advice anymore, just stop.
Shut up.
I appreciate you, but we don't need that. And so yeah, that's how that works.
I think a
And
huge part also is stop telling telling everybody your business. Everybody
yes,
don't need to know everything about your business. You need to understand that sure your friends, if you have good friends, they want the best for you. They surely do. That does not mean that they have to be in your business, especially when it comes to in-laws. Because if I tell my mom something, and I believe she told my sisters this, she never tell me this because I don't never single life. Anyway, she said, "Don't tell me anything you don't want me to remember,
oh, that's good.
because if he does you wrong, I'm going to remember that. You may forgive him, but I'm going to remember that, and I'm going to look at him differently every time I see him." And my dad is like, my daddy. He like, "Don't tell me nothing, because depending on the severity of it, I may have to fight this dude." And but one thing I do like about my dad is if I go to him and I tell him something, he will be quick to be like, "Well, that was dumb. Why would you do that? This is what you should have done. You need to go fix that." And I tell my daddy like super impartial. But if you try his child, he is super, super dad like.
Hmm.
So I say you need to, if you're literally genuinely seeking advice from your parents, right? And you know they're impartial, and you know they want your relationship to succeed, cool. But if you going to talk to your daddy knowing your daddy don't like me, knowing your daddy thought you should have married Kiki and them, that's not gonna work. If that makes any sense at all. Danielle, I'm sorry, Dr. Jackson. I'm sorry, Doc.
I forgot what the question was.
How do you maintain your relationship when you're with your in-laws all involved, all up and through it? Oh, I have something else to add to that.
Go ahead and add it.
And it's piggybacking off of what Kid said.
Okay.
If your mama come at me, you need to correct your mama, not me. That's not for me to correct your mama. You need to correct her because I correct her all day long. But until you get involved, until you say something respectfully, I mean, you're not your mama because I'm gonna look at you sideways and I'm probably gonna say something to you. But until you say something to that person, then it's gonna be a continuation every day, every time I see them, and it's gonna cause an issue between you and I. So you need to be prepared to leave and cleave to this. And I also want to bring up the point the Bible says that he shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. He needs to do that better. That means men are very clingy and
Yes, we
needy.
are.
Go ahead.
Yes.
There,
Go
so
ahead.
there's there's a reason that most women are extremely excited when they don't have a mother-in-law.
Oh, girl, look, no, that's legit. That is so come on with the come on. Because I don't know who
It's
I'm,
like, I'm so sorry that you lost your mother.
but
However,
you can share mine because she's great. No, like, do you know that's actually a thing, kids?
it is absolutely a thing
Bruh.
because there's that whole Oedipus complex thing,
And these women,
and then there's that whole situation of moms who, treat their sons like they're their husbands, and if they get a woman involved, it's like the woman spends a whole life trying to compete with her
for
for
no reason
time with
at
him,
all. I was in one of those relationships. I'm like,
where
don't
the
be
mother will actually pick fights with his wife.
girl. I got an example of that.
I've got a few examples of that, but go ahead with yours.
Mine is so simple. Rice Krispie treats now. I'm in word. Everybody knows how to make these things. So I'm making them. It's a family get together. I shouldn't have been able to do it at the time anyway. Should have been broke up with her. But anyway, so I'm in the kitchen making Rice Krispie treats. I put the butter in. After the butter comes marshmallows. It's a simple process. And she's talking to him. I'm gonna call him Bob. She's like, Bob, I don't think you need that many marshmallows. I'm like, I'm not. He's not even making them. So your passive aggressiveness, and y'all know my facial expressions aren't very well handled.
No
So
poker face.
zero. So I'm like, whatever. And he has the nerve to come over there and say, "Don't put any more marshmallows in there." I proceeds to say, "Who's making the Rice Krispie treats?" And to try to be kind, I don't put too much more marshmallows in there. So now comes the time where I have to put in the Rice Krispies. Bob, make sure you don't put a lot of Rice Krispies. I was like, you know what? I see what this gonna be, and I put the whole thing in there. I don't know how the things turned out because I ain't had none. It was dry in the mudsucker. But if she would have let me do it how I handled it, would have been gooey, chewy, and yum yum to the tum tum. But that's an example of when I was like, you're never gonna speak up to your mom, whether we're married or not, because this is something super simple that you could have been like, hey, mom, just let her handle it. It's just Rice Krispie treats. Let her handle it.
Now to piggyback off of that,
You pay Rice Krispie treats too? No, I'm joking.
now to piggyback off of that,
First of all, Robert, shut up. That's true. We talk about me. We talk about me. Yes, sure.
uh, to piggyback off of that, so say you had that type of relationship with your in-law, right? Now that in-law becomes ill and has to move in with you
You a lie.
because she has no one else.
She got a nursing home.
Wow.
Legit. If your mom can't respect me and she ain't even live and she doesn't even live in this house, I know she's not gonna respect me when she come. Cause she gonna take it, she's gonna think it's her house because you let her get away with every friggin' thing she does, and now she gonna try to control my house. She and I gonna have issues. You and I are gonna have issues, and it's just gonna be a whole no, no, ma'am. You better treat. Hope you're nice to the people
The,
at the nursing home.
the funny thing about it is that typically women have problems with their men's mothers, but it's usually not the other way around. That typically doesn't happen.
Right.
That typically doesn't happen. So usually when the woman's mom has to move in, it's not usually a problem because for the most part, she's probably been there nurturing the relationship from the beginning.
Wait, with who? Wait, what? Say it again.
For example, my mother. Every person I've ever dated that has met my mother loves my mother.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They love my mother. So if anything happens to my mother where she has to go, it would never typically be a problem.
Right.
But the problem is usually with his mama, cause she be overstepping like a mother.
He like, oh wait, let me.
I, I think,
Right.
I think because like at the basis of it is that son, that mother son dynamic. It's a special bond anyway. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so, but at the end of the day, you got to have a healthy relationship with those parents. So like, even if my mom, I love my mom, I love my mom.
I love your mom too,
Yeah, I love my mom, but Alina comes before my mom.
as
Alina's my
well she
wife,
should.
as she should. And
But
so,
some men don't see that. Some men
I,
don't know how to step up.
and I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Oh,
But
this
I'm
guy.
just playing. But that's why, like, that's why we gotta establish those type of healthy boundaries. You know what I mean? Like that's just has to be there. And that's just being a man. And so there's something there that they gotta figure out, that they gotta work out. But yeah, I have no issues with my mother-in-law. I mean, yeah, she's still, we there's that I love her, but there still had to be some type of boundary. She's been my wife's mom for years before I married her. So they already had this dynamic. So we had to kind of break away from that. Just like my mom. My mom's been my mom for 23 years before I got married. And so yeah, whatever my mom told me to do, yeah, I just listened. And then there was a point in time, there was a season when I was like, hey mom, this is actually what we want to do. And then my mom we'll go back and forth, but at the end of the day, slowly but surely, she respected what our decisions. And so yeah, it's tough and it hurts as a son,
Right.
you know, but eventually, now it's like, hey mom, this is what we want to do. Okay.
Right. And that's one of
Okay.
my fears. Like, I love my daddy. My daddy is my that's my gang. And my first reaction, like recently I took my sister's door off to put it on the other side so it wouldn't hit something. And when I say that door was heavy, it was heavy. Heavy. I couldn't get it back on. So the first person, even if I'm in a relationship, and this is something that I have to adjust to, and I'm sure my dad will be quick to help me adjust to it because he's like, if you when you get in a relationship, that's for him to do. If he needs help, he needs to call me, not you. You shouldn't be calling me. So I call my daddy, and I know my daddy will show up. I can be in the middle of Wichita, and my daddy gonna come get me. And that is something that I know that I will have to work on, and I mentally think about it now. So pray for me, y'all. I said I like to say pray for me.
Nah,
Does
you
your
good.
in-laws get a key? Do the parents get a key to the house?
No,
Really? My parents will get a key to my house.
No, they won't.
You're not married.
They will, married or not. His parents can get a key to the house.
No.
Nope.
I believe that knowing how my parents are, my parents ain't gonna never come over without calling first. My parents will never just open the door and walk in. And I've asked them to before. I'm like, just come. You ain't gotta go. Just come. They're like, no, that's your house. That's your place. That's your whatever. But I want them to have a key, knowing that they know that there are boundaries, knowing that there are limitations to their access, knowing that if you walk in and we on the couch, your fault. Knowing that, you know what I'm saying? Your fault. Hey, mom,
My,
what's up?
oh hell.
Bad timing. Bad timing. So, like, but I would want them to be able to have access.
Oh,
Like, say I need to get
nah,
in,
I don't.
I need them to
My
grab.
mother's had a stroke before. Nah.
My mom has too.
So my parents have access to my house right now because they're staying with me for the summer. But as soon
Y'all leave.
but as soon as August comes when their house is already done being built, the codes will be changed on the door. That access will be revoked. That garage, the extra garage opener will be taken.
Oh, change that too.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
No, that's a hard no.
That's not happening. Like, cause my mother, I don't know if you remember when we went to college, Randy, but my mother lived in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
We went to school in Tampa,
For sure. Your mama did
and
not
I
do
lived.
that. Pop up.
My mother did pop-ups. My mother did pop-ups without. She'd call me and be like, "I'm 5 minutes down the street," or I get a tap 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 on the door.
See, and that's the difference between my mom. My mom was an hour and a half up the street. My mom was in Orlando. She never popped up. My mom never. She would even to this day. My mom calls me and says, "Can you talk?" She doesn't just start talking. She asked, "Are you busy?" I'm like, "Mommy, I'm never too busy for you. I don't care what it is. What's up?"
Yeah,
She's
my mother, she'll call me in the middle of my workday. I'll be like, "Mom, I
the
have a
worst.
patient in front of me. I have a patient in front of me doing a history and physical. And Mom, I have a patient in front of me. Yeah, but I need you to do this thing right now. I have this thing I need to order on Amazon.
But
Mom, I'll talk to you later." And then she'll call me back. She'll be like, "Did you just hang up on me?" I said, "Yeah,
Yeah, she
because
don't
I
need to go.
told you
but
no, no. She's
let me
not.
ask
She's
you
not
this:
again."
do you have siblings?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, okay.
But she
You're not
does have
I'm
even,
the
siblings.
but you're
I'm the
not the only
oldest.
child. Oh wow.
I'm the eldest and the most responsible.
And he's saying, "Oh wow," because it's like, "Mom, why don't you call the other kids?" I'm busy.
Listen. My brother was living in the same house as my parents. My brother was studying IT. My mother would call me. I live in Tampa now. My mother would call me all the way across town because she needs to figure out how to find this thing online.
Oh, that's different. I don't. Okay.
Because I'm the only one who will stop and give her the time and help her with it.
Oh, there you go. But back to your question though, Brandy. My mom, she ain't coming. She ain't coming by the house like anyway, right? Like she ain't coming by. I live 40 minutes from my mom. My mom
Right.
still she come on Christmas and the birthdays, and that's cool. You know, we got to take the kids. We got to take her grandkids to see her, right? And my mother-in-law, she lives in New York. She definitely ain't gonna just pop up. But nobody is getting the key. I don't want to even take that chance. I don't want you to. I don't want you to even pop up.
I don't want the possibility of you saying I'm down the
Yeah,
street.
text me,
Go
hey,
back.
can we come this day next week? Yes. Unless it's an emergency. You know
Okay,
what I
so how
mean?
do you feel then about, because I went on this trip and the girl was like, your parents need to have a, a arrival and departure date.
Now, again, it depends. Like my mother-in-law, like
I'll
that's
do
what
that.
she does.
I
But
do
my
that.
mom, yeah, and it now it just, I mean, it just can't be too often. Like,
Right. That's where I was like, you don't have to have an arrival and departure date. I need to know when you're coming. I want to know when you're coming. I don't need to know when you're leaving. I know that you're not going to stay forever.
yeah,
And knowing my parents, they're not going to stay more than 3, 4 days anyway. But
Oh, you're talking
are
about
they
that type
doing
of
it
arrival and
once
departure date.
a month?
Okay.
Are they doing it twice a month? Are they doing it every other month? You can't be doing it every week.
mm,
Like you I love you. And you have a key. You have the code. I'm not gonna change your code. I'm not gonna switch it up on you. You're not gonna boop 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 boop. Boop. It ain't gonna be none of that. But the number of times you do that is the
yeah,
issue. But I don't need to know when you're leaving. I know you will be leaving. That's all that matters to me.
yeah. And like my mother-in-law, she comes, maybe once every 5 months, and she stays 2 weeks. Now I can plan for that. You know what I mean? I can be mentally ready. Like, yo, we gonna have to do something. Like now, if she's coming every month, like, nah, that ain't gonna work. 2 weeks at a time, that ain't gonna work.
Right.
That ain't gonna work.
Now, now with them having a code now, what if they say, "Oh, I know she's at work. Let me come surprise her."
Who, my parents? They ain't not gonna do that. I ain't worried about that. My parents aren't gonna do that.
Oh, let me surprise her. It's coming. Her birthday's coming up. I just want to put some flowers and stuff in the house, or oh, let me give her a gift and leave it in the house. And you butt booty naked on the staircase. Mm-mm.
First of all, me, I don't care. If my parents saw me, I feel like my parents saw me. They wipe me
No,
behind.
no, no.
They're
I'm
like,
not
"Oh,
talking
yeah,
about butt booty naked by yourself.
well, that's their fault." Like I said before, that's their fault. That's on them. That's not on me. I'm married. Don't expect. We're not gonna stop because you popped up. We on a mission. You know what I'm saying? We on a goddamn mission. You won't do that again. Oh yeah.
They're gonna give you the key back.
They gonna change the code themselves. They just gonna push buttons with their eyes closed. Whatever that code is what the code is. I don't want it. Look, look. You can you can surprise me all you want. I don't mind my parents stopping by. I don't. I don't. Because I know my parents aren't coming to be messy. I know my parents aren't coming to nitpick stuff. Like my sisters might be different. What I'm just saying, like that's your fault. How come we done? you they probably won't answer, but that's fine. So so how do you okay? What about relationships where now we've talked about this before, but we didn't talk about it on a maintaining relationship tip. Your friends are all single, or her friends are all single.
Yeah, I was taught by an old guy. You have to cut them off. You have to cut them off.
The single friends?
Yeah, you're in a different season. At least for a bit. At least, because like yo, when you sing, you're in a certain mindset, right? You telling certain jokes, right? Certain things are funny. Certain conversations are funny. For a season, I can't be in those jokes. Like right now, I like I'm really tapping in with married couples. Like yo, I don't have a lot of single friends right now. Like, what are we talking about? Other than business? Like, what are we talking about?
Like I'm the single friend of my single crew. So that's most of my friends are married. It's probably only one or two of us. So I would hate for all my friends to cut me off because I'm the single one.
Yeah, but
I know my
here's what will also say. Like, it depends how long we've been friends too. Now, if we've been friends 10, 15
Agreed.
years,
Agreed.
again,
okay,
I'm still gonna. I'm like, I gotta. Hey, I'm married now. We can hang out
because I've been
once
the maid
every
of
two
honor for all of
months.
them.
Huh? What'd you say?
I've, I've been the maid of honor for all of them.
Yeah. And like we're not gonna talk as much. Like, I'm not gonna cut you off entirely at my life, but for a certain period of time, like, yo, I gotta focus on my wife. We can talk, maybe once a month for an hour, catch up. But there's a season where, yeah, I gotta change. I gotta change.
I'm offended.
Is it different for guys?
She said
I
I'm
feel
offended.
attacked. I feel attacked.
What'd you say?
Is it
Dr.
different
Jackson?
for guys?
Different for guys?
Yeah,
What do you
because
mean?
you cut off all your single male friends. Because I don't know, I feel like single female friends, I don't know, they have a certain respect for marriage
I'm sorry, what?
You would hope.
You said what?
that like a single when it comes to women and their single female friends, right? Especially when you don't think that they have a certain respect. No, I do. I mean, I guess I'm different because like there's certain things,
I'm
huh?
gonna say, oh, I do. I do. My friends come to me for advice regarding their relationships because they know
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
how it is with me too.
the feelings don't matter. Like I had a friend, she asked me, she was like, if you saw my husband hitting me, what would you do? I said, I'd hand you the phone and take your kids outside because you gonna do what you want to do, but I'm gonna make sure your kids don't see it. I'm not getting involved in your relationship in that way. But I do
Yeah,
believe that how females are, and especially with females wanting to be in relationships, females wanting to be married, they're in a space where misery loves company, and I don't want to be in this situation alone. So I'm gonna tell you, girl, he wrong. You need to do this, so that you're in the same situation I'm in, both of us miserable. And I think dudes just give bad advice based on their past
immaturity.
situations, and females give advice based on their current situation.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Talking Kanuki.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I think for a season, again, like until you're established as a unit, like you just want to grow with that one person. So, um, and it's not like I had a whole bunch of crazy friends anyway, but I just knew, hey, I need to be with my wife, and yeah, we might not talk as much for a little bit. I'm gonna still be here if y'all really, really need me, right? But the conversations are different. It is. It's like, yo,
What do married people talk about? I'm just
married people
curious.
talk.
Yeah, what y'all talk about? Because it sounds boring.
Oh, I mean,
Because
I think,
you said
huh?
your conversations with your single friends are different from your conversations with your married friends, and you can answer this question also because most of your friends are married.
Some of them are, but like, all right, so like, when you with a group of guys, yo, and a girl walk past, for the most part, everybody's looking, and they're like, oh man, you saw that, but yo, I'm not trying to do that in this. I'm not trying to do that anymore.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to talk about what you did with this girl the other night. I'm not trying to do that anymore. So I'm not trying to engage in those certain situations. Like I said, it's not like you cut them off entirely because y'all have that history. But yo, I need to focus on my wife. And well, married conversation is just like deeper stuff. Now you have a person. Hopefully, you could be a little bit more vulnerable with as a man, and prayerfully.
Well, I thought you were talking about with your married friends, not necessarily with because of course
Oh,
your conversation with your
Right.
wife is going to be vulnerable, but I'm talking about with your married friends.
oh,
How
wait,
is your
wait.
conversation with your single friends differentiate from your conversation with your married friends? Not with
Exactly.
your
Well,
wife. Because with your wife, you could talk about whatever, because you can be vulnerable with your wife. But I'm talking about how's your conversation differ? Like, what kind of conversations are you having with them that you wouldn't have with your single friends?
I think I think still, with certain friends that I have that are married, you can still talk about, man, it's really good to be vulnerable with a woman and not, have to feel a certain way. And somebody can actually relate to that. You know what I mean? Um, just, I don't know, but I don't know. It just feels different. I don't know like a lot of specific examples. Um, but
I
it's
was
just different. Go ahead.
So it's less lustful, more loving conversations.
I believe so. Yes.
I can see that
Yes.
because y'all probably
Yes.
talk
And
about
it's all
kids, and I don't want to talk about your kids.
yeah, and it's also like just growing with the person, you know, um, having conversations like that around that, finding that one person that you was really desiring and you can see yourself growing old with that person and just seeing how, just talking about that journey, um, certain things like that.
And you also talk about. I can see more so you talking about conversations with she and I got into it. How did y'all handle? Like, how did y'all handle
Yeah.
da 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 da
Yeah.
and maintain your relationship? Well,
Yeah.
as opposed to single, a single person, I can tell you what how me and Bob talk, but me and Bob can walk away without issue. Go your
Listen.
way, I go mine. We ain't got to talk. There ain't nobody in the middle that has to separate us. So I can get that.
Yes.
All my friends are married, so
I guess my situation is different because I do therapy and psychiatry.
There
So
you go.
I'm able to be the objective person. So I don't put my own feelings into certain situations. So maybe for me it's different because we all, like in my group of friends, like we can have objective conversations. Like they'll be like, okay, well, I'm going through this. And then I'll be like, okay, there's three sides to every story. So I can't just listen to her side because anytime she comes, oh, he did this and hit this. I said, okay, let me talk to him. I was a maid of honor. I need to keep this thing together. Let me hear his side. Okay, well, you didn't tell me that.
I don't
So
even need
it's,
to hear his side though.
huh?
I don't even need to hear his side. If my friends tell me something, like I have a friend that I've known since second grade,
Mm-hmm.
she tells me something, I know exactly who was wrong, who was right, what she didn't say, what she should have said. Because if you're friends with somebody, I
Yeah,
feel like I only call two people my friend, and that's because I know them. I know you. I don't do fly by night with acquaintances. We not look, we cool. But to call you a friend, I need to know you. And I don't need to hear Buddy's side of it.
you
And
already know.
a friend of mine, he tells me about he and his wife's situation. I know him. And I tell him, you wrong. This is what you need to do if you want that relationship to work. I don't need to talk to her. I don't even think she like me. I don't think she know me though, which is weird. But anywho, so it's like I'm objective, but I'm my father's child in that respect. Where if you wrong, you wrong. Don't call me if you want somebody to pacify your behavior, because I'm not gonna be the one. I want your relationship to work more than you do.
My
So
friend tells me, who needs enemies with friends like you? I said,
boom,
I
that's
love you
it.
too, boo. I love you too, baby.
Make it work,
But you
girl.
wrong. Go figure it out.
Get over there.
Because you wrong. You toxic.
You need
Go
to
over
have
there and fix
sex
it.
with them. What you got to do. But I'm just saying. But go ahead. I'm sorry, and I did cut you off. That was very rude of me. So your objective, you want to speak to both parties, and I did that. That's fine. So what happens if you see if there's a discrepancy? Do you bring them together? Do you go back to that person and be like, "You big old lie"? That's my
No,
question.
when there's a discrepancy, then I bring them together. Be like, okay, talk. I'll be like, okay, you said this. You said this. You didn't mention this. So what's going on here? Okay, y'all need to figure this out. I don't put myself into it, but you guys need to figure that out. because you have to think that you guys are supposed to be on the same goal. You guys are supposed to be on an objective, on a path
Mm-hmm.
to achieve the same thing. So you need to work this out and figure out how you're going to get to that goal. You guys need to get together, whatever. Go ahead.
How do you maintain a relationship where, and hopefully you, and let's say you didn't talk about this before marriage, or you didn't talk about this period, where one person has one way of disciplining children and the other has a different way of disciplining children.
I mean, that's a conversation. I don't. Yeah, y'all will have to talk about that because that's very important. You know, um, I don't know. I don't know. Let's ask Dr. Jackson.
Well, in my situation, whatever situation I'm going to be in is going to be a blended family situation.
Mhm.
So it's going to have to be a conversation that has to be had. We're just going to have to talk about it.
Interesting. Maybe I'm more traditional than I thought I was. I don't believe you have to spank a child. I just don't. I've never spanked my nieces and my nephew.
But they're not your kids.
And they're no, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. Those are my kids. They are my kids. I may not have
I,
birthed them,
I
but those
believe that
are my
every child
kids.
is different. Every child responds to things differently.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
some kids you can talk to and they get it. The other one you might even knock them upside the head and be like,
I don't believe. I'm not. I don't believe. I believe the way you. I believe like I believe in my mother's way of doing it. Sure, she beat us. Ooh, strong woman, strong woman. But but her consistency, her follow through is everything. Her, I guess you could say, if my mom said she was gonna do something, she was gonna do it. If she said she was gonna get open when you got home, you was gonna get open. If she said she was leaving in 2.75 seconds, she left in 2.75, not 7.6, not 7.4, 2.75 seconds. And I believe children like discipline, they crave discipline. And if you are direct with what you require of them, you don't have to whoop them. They won't. Like my nephew. You know how Boogie was. That hammer knocker. If I asked Boogie to do something, Boogie did it. I didn't have to go back and forth with him. I have another niece. She don't listen. She don't even tell mama too much. I tell her to do something, she do it. But I said all that to say I would try not to have issue, but I think as the head of the household, however he wants to discipline these children, even after we've had this conversation, as long as it's not abuse, that's how you're gonna discipline. I'm not going to I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a conversation. And, you talk about the reasonings why,
Mm-hmm.
you want to do things a certain way. Because, yeah. I mean, every child is different. Some children, with some of my kids, you know, all right, you're not listening. You want to expend your energy. All right, let's do some push ups until you burn out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or I have some of my kids, I can just talk to them a certain way and they straighten up. Or some I just got to whoop. That's just what it comes down to. But eventually, hopefully we just get to, hey, stop, and you stop.
Right.
And it's just getting to that point. But yeah,
actually,
that
my
kind
son, I never had to whoop him. My son, he's now turning 13. I never had to whoop him. My daughter, she's a terrorist.
She's a terror. She's a terror, government.
Okay.
Terror, not terrorist. She's a terror. She used the wrong words. Please don't come after any of us. Wanted to correct her language. She's a terror. Okay.
but again, it's that dynamic with mom and son. Like my daughters, my
No,
older
even my
daughter.
mom, even my parents will say it that my son, awesome. My daughter, my mother made me pay for daycare for this. My parents were staying with me for the summer. My mom paid me pay for daycare because they're like, no, she can't stay home. Well, my son, they would keep him anytime, no problem, from when he was younger. My daughter, they're like, no, send her to school. Send her to school.
That's horrible.
Yep, whatever. Same raising.
Hey, more power
It's
to
them
y'all.
girls, boy. Mm.
Neither.
Elena, my daughter, they be going at it. I just be laughing.
How old is she now?
Huh?
How old is she now?
She 5.
Okay, I'm
Oh, my
like,
But
daughter's
she
5.
amazing.
Yeah, my daughter's 5 too. My daughter's
yeah,
5 too.
but she just like her
I just be
mama. I
wanting,
just be laughing.
I just be wanting to string her up by her foot. That's all I want. Just string her up, upside down. Just want to string her up. She just, ooh,
Now,
that
With
girl.
that.
and then like I'll tell you this quick story that's so funny because she got 3 older brothers, and I guess one of her brothers told her none of her business, right? And so yesterday, Alina was saying something to my daughter Kaya, and Kaya said none of your business, and I'm like,
Oh
oh no,
no.
she about to die, she about to die today. But hey y'all, that's different. They gotta iron that out. They gotta iron that out.
If I would have told my mama, none of your none, hmm? Please,
Yo.
please, life would have been cut short for me. And she would have brought me back to life to let me know that she killed me. You died.
Listen, all I do is shoot her the look now, and she goes and hides under her bed. She run upstairs like a track star. Like my daughter, she know how to run fast now, like a track star. She be hiding under the bed because she know I'm not gonna get her. I'm not gonna go under there and get her. And then she'll fall asleep under there because she's so scared of coming back out. Mind you, I don't even really do anything to this kid. I don't. But anytime I look at her, she's just fear. It's the fear I've instilled in her.
That's a mother's thing.
Good.
A look.
It's the
Yeah.
fear I have instilled in her. What did you
Fathers
just say
don't
to
have
me?
that.
Gone.
Fathers don't have that ability.
Who?
Fathers,
Oh, yes, they do.
they look like a mom. Come on now.
Not. It's different. It's
It's more
different.
powerful with a mama.
I think it's different. It's different. I believe it's different. Both are definitely needed in the household.
Oh yeah, for sure, for life. I agree. I agree.
Definitely.
There's no denying that.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody's
No, no,
saying
no, no.
otherwise.
No,
Hmm.
but I mean now, like when, especially my sons. Oh yeah, that's all I got. All I got to do is give them a look. That's it. It's the
I think
presence.
dad has a voice, mom has a look.
You
When
know
you hear
what?
when you
You
hear
know
your
what?
daddy
You
voice, you
are.
be like,
You're right. You're right. It is the voice. You're right. You're right.
I'm sorry,
You're
you
right.
said well now I couldn't hear
You are right. I have.
you.
I'm humility. I'm humble. Ain't no pride. You're right. It
Well,
is.
I'd
It
like to
is the
thank the
voice.
Academy.
Huh?
I said, well, I'd like to thank the Academy for allowing me to be so. Okay,
What's up?
next one. Do you involve your siblings in how do you maintain a relationship where your siblings are on the side of your partner more than they are yours?
I don't know if that will ever be a thing.
Hypothetically, hypothetically, because
I mean that would mean they in my business.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with that. Like my siblings are not. I mean, I more tell my closest friends more than I would tell my siblings. My siblings don't know nothing. It also might be because, well, my brother-in-law's a pastor, so I talk to him. My brother-in-law's a pastor, and of course, my sister that makes my older sister like a first lady. But I tell my brother-in-law more than I tell my sister because I know he's objective.
gotcha.
I,
Okay.
I know I know he's objective, but they don't get involved in my relationships like that. They'll come and talk to me and then tell me whatever, but it's like at the end of the day, they say you need to go talk to him and go fix it or whatever it is.
basically.
Go work it out because
Yeah.
they, as married couple who's been married for like so long, they say go take care of that. Now my younger siblings, I wouldn't ask them for advice. They don't know their butts from their faces. Please.
I, I'm of the same opinion. I'm the oldest, so like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I'm the
Going
oldest of my mother's kids. I'm the oldest of my mother's kids, but my dad's kids, I'm directly in the middle.
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm sort of because I know kids. I feel like the third one, that kid got a good head on his shoulders. I'm talking about
Oh,
kids, brothers.
okay.
Jordan.
Yes.
You think I would go to Jordan for advice?
I'm not saying you would go to Jordan for advice. I feel like Jordan, though he smiles all the time and he's just so giddy. I feel like the dude got a lot of sense.
Yes, he's definitely pretty wise for his age. Um, however,
That's all I'm saying. You ain't gonna have
however,
my cousin.
huh?
Go ahead, however.
However, he ain't been married, so I wouldn't even put him in a position unless I'm trying to teach him something that I already came out of. Like,
Exactly.
hey, this, be careful with this because this is where I was, and I don't want you to go through the same thing. And yeah,
I
but
know she's
if,
gonna get a question. I know she's gonna take a question out of that one, but go ahead.
yeah, but as far as me confiding him in a present situation, absolutely not. It would be unfair to him because he wouldn't know how to answer.
So
So, Brandy's about to ask a question. Could you
Ask it.
take marital advice from someone who's not married?
you better get out my head, girl.
I know you,
I
girl.
I actually have two questions that stem from that.
In my experience, in my opinion, no.
I actually agree that it's a no.
Yeah,
You can take
no.
relationship advice from somebody that isn't married, but you can't take specifically marital advice from someone that hasn't been married.
Can
But
you take relationship advice from someone who's not
yes,
been married?
I,
it's a
I,
relationship, however you want to put it. It's
I
just
don't.
titled a
I'm still
marriage.
saying no.
I probably would not because um the reason for that is because people have to take what they say with a grain of salt
Hmm.
because if you're not an expert and I'm not doing this to show shade because essentially I'd be throwing shade at myself. You're not an expert at maintaining a relationship and maintaining the longevity of a relationship by yourself. What makes you an expert in maintaining a longevity of a relationship?
I think, and I'm going to go back and say, yes, you can take marital advice from somebody that has never been married if they are objective. I feel like sometimes the best lessons that we learn are from the mistakes of others. So that's just like saying you're divorced. I'm not going to take marital advice from you. You're divorced. What do you know about maintaining a relationship? But let me tell you why I got divorced. That's marital advice.
Okay.
Okay, I can see that. Learning from their mistakes. Yeah, sure. I can see that.
And I tell people all the time, hey, you don't want to be single. This ain't the life you want. Being single is not what it used. You don't want to come to the. You don't want to come out here.
Oh, I done told friends that before. I said,
Everything
listen,
you can to fix that marriage because when you get
the
out
dating
here,
pool has pee in it.
it has
Stay
poo
married.
in it. It has feces in it.
The dating pool has pee, poo,
Sheesh.
vomit,
Take it. Ebola.
everything in it.
Ebola. You
You
don't want
see?
to be out in these streets.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I keep
But
hearing.
I do believe you can get relationship advice from people that have not been married. And then that stems my next question, which is not really related, but related. Can because I'll tell my sisters something and they'll be like, you don't even have kids. I don't need to have kids to know how to deal with children. Do you believe that you have to have children yourself in order to give advice on how to with children?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Like Dr. Jackson said, I can take whatever you want to say with a grain of salt, but like I feel like you know the experience is of having a kid is I feel like that carries more weight. You know what I mean? I'll take what you got to say just because I trust you and I value you as a person in my life. But at the end of the day, I don't know.
Because
You
you're
know,
not around these kids 24/7. You don't know what these kids put me through. You don't know how much frustration is on me right now.
and right now,
You don't know how much I want to throw these kids down the street sometimes. Like you don't know.
She does not
So
mean that, CPS. She does not mean that. They are terrific.
I like how you did that.
Whew.
And like right now, you the fun cousin. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
exactly.
you come
You're
over,
the
have
fun
fun.
auntie. You're the fun auntie.
I'm not
You get
though.
to you get
I'm
to
not
you get
though.
to return them, but at the end of the day, you get to return them.
I'm the mean aunt, actually.
Yeah, but they don't really take that meanness serious though. They don't.
Hey, nah,
You
They
know.
still love you. They still
Oh,
love
they
you.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
That's what
have.
I'm saying. They're not taking that meanness serious. But when mama says it, they know they gotta deal with mama forever. So it's a different meanness.
Okay. Like I said about my niece, who barely listens to her mama half the time. When I say do something, the joker do it.
it's different.
It is different. They'll listen to the auntie because the auntie's like, okay, I'll do this for auntie. She brings good gifts.
I don't never bring gifts. That's that sounds horrible when I play the back in my head. But I'm not the hey, got you guys some candy. I'm not that aunt. Like I made my niece an apron because she likes cooking, and then I made her an extra apron that says it says Chef Kenny, and then on the smaller apron it says Chef Kenny sous chef. But I give them stuff that they can use and not stuff that they'll just throw away. I'm that aunt.
You're thoughtful.
Yeah, but they're still gifts that they love.
The other aunt is the one that she the fun one. I have
Yeah.
behavioral expectations.
Huh. Interesting.
But I guess I don't think you need to have kids in order to know that kids crave discipline. I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to have kids to know that. I don't
And,
think you
and,
need to have kids to say you ain't got to yell at them all the time. I don't think you have to have kids in order to get them to walk the straight. And I don't think you like for example. Oh, here's an example. I have a friend, the one I've known since second grade. She's a foster parent. She had this one kid that was just a terror. And I went over there and she was like, I need you to talk to such and such for me. So I went over there. I was like, well, what's the problem? She's like, she just won't clean up after herself. So I went over there and I was like, see, this is what we're going to do. You're going to clean up. You're going to da 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 da. A week and a half later, she comes, she's like, she still cleans up after herself. I don't have to have kids to be my mama.
I
But
think
that's how kids are though. Sometimes it takes an outside influence and then they'll listen to that person and they'll just ignore their parents sometimes. That's how kids are.
I wish my
I'm telling you from experience.
I never listened to it.
Mm.
I can't
There's
say that
what
I listened to any of
there's
my
a
aunts and uncles more than I listened before I listened to my mama, and that's because my mama was strong.
yeah, because she beat the brakes off you.
Right, but now my mom disciplined us with discipline, if that makes sense. Like she, and I don't know. This has nothing to do with anything, but if okay, so I got in trouble quite often as a child, but it wasn't because I
You
was
know.
bad. It was because first of all, fix your face, kid. It was because I finished my work early in school, so I had time. I had time.
To
They didn't
socialize.
realize. Right.
That was like me. I got in trouble all the time for the same reason.
There's something extra to do. They didn't. So I found something extra to do. Anyway, so every time we got in trouble, I got in trouble. My mom was like, you get two added to it. Every time you get in trouble, you get two added to it. My mom disciplined us with self-discipline. And She's just great. Darn it.
She's the
Love her.
best.
She really is. Like she's amazing. Anywho, y'all some haters. So, okay. What is besides communication, what is the most important thing about how best can you maintain relationships? And hopefully I don't say what I'm thinking because I'm
Compromise.
okay.
Compromise.
And what
I
and what like what who if who should do the compromising?
both.
Okay.
I
Keenan?
don't
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm just because who is the man who I am. I definitely at the foundation has to be God for me.
Oh,
Like to
for sure.
maintain any type of relationship, you got to have God at the center. Outside of that, definitely compromise, sacrifice, because certain things, like we talked about last week, like certain things that my wife is very passionate about, she likes to do. I may not necessarily like to do a whole bunch. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But because I love her and I want to maintain this relationship with her, I'll do it, and I try my hardest to do it with a smile. You know what I mean? And not to complain about it. How long we at this beach? Huh? I think it's supposed to rain in about 5 minutes. Y'all good?
You're behind her doing rain dances.
But it's certain things like that. And that's it. But at the end of the day, it makes her happy. And so she's going to have to do some things that I like, you
Hmm.
know, to maintain that relationship. So definitely sacrifice. Um, compromise, a big one is, and I think this is a huge key that kind of just changed my whole marriage. Understanding, hey, in this argument, do I want to be right or do I want to be married? You know what I mean?
Yo,
You know what I mean?
yes.
And so, do I want to just keep arguing to prove my point, or I just be like, you know what? Don't worry about it. Okay, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But prayerfully, hopefully, it does change over time, and I've seen that kind of transform my marriage.
Hmm.
You know, um, so things like that.
Somebody once said to me, he was like, dang, how did he say it exactly? He says before he gets into a debate, or he said argument, I'm not gonna argue with you. I debate with you all day, but I ain't gonna argue with you. He says, what can I say to make sure this person is here tomorrow? And I'm like, that is a great way of thinking about it.
Yeah,
So you're saying, do I want to be married? Do I want to be right? Reminded me of that.
that's an incredible. That's a major key, like DJ Khaled. That's a major key because if we're committed to be here forever,
Mm-hmm.
we have to understand this argument is probably something small versus the big scheme of things. So let's not say anything that we're gonna have to regret later, because
Right.
we're both not walking away. That's not happening. So at the end of the day, it was probably some type of miscommunication, and so let's just try to figure it
Right. I think the major key for maintaining a relationship is order. Um, you have to know your role.
out. Oh, that's
You have
very
to
important.
know the importance of who the other person, like your value in it, but there has to be order. If there's no order and everybody's just running amok, then you gang all that up. I have no clue who this question mark person is, but hi.
Hello.
Oh, wash your okay. So you I don't know you're kind of late. um, but we were talking about the key besides communication. What is the most important thing that a relationship must have?
Compromise.
They said that too.
Who said that?
Kids and Dr. Jackson.
Okay.
Who is that?
My
You
little
don't know
sister.
my voice?
Oh, Birdie in a coop.
That part.
Oh, I want to play Birthday Cool.
My favorite partner.
Say that to the people in the back.
We won every time.
Right. Say that
Cause
for the
y'all don't
people in
care
the
about
back.
hurting each other. I see
I'm
y'all say
flying.
that.
They say
I be
bird, I'm
like,
flying.
you have her what by her hair. I'm like, they is serious about this.
They say bird, I'm flying. I don't even see RJ, but I'm flying. He gonna catch me.
Get out
But
the
yeah,
way.
but I think you have you said it. That's a make a great point. Order, because each party knowing their role in this relationship is key. Is
Right.
key. Because like you said, everything would go crazy and run them up. If hey, so I'm better with handling the finances than you are. So let me handle that. You know, let me do that. Oh, I'm gonna help the kids with the homework because you just gonna get frustrated and start yelling. I got that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's very, very, very key.
And then ultimately understanding that there's only going to be one head of the household. There cannot be two.
Yeah,
I get that. I as a female, I can make decisions. I can help you with that. However, if and I was talking to somebody the other day, if I'm saying go left and you're saying go right, and I'm like, it's down here and I can see it. It's right there. But you're saying go okay, then go left. I'm not going to ultimately you're the head of this household. Ultimately, whatever decision you make falls on you. So go ahead. We're gonna turn around eventually. But I'm a firm believer in order. And
yeah, and to that point, right, like you just made, that's where the patience comes in too, because sometimes either party could be like, man, I told you to go left. You so dumb. I keep telling you go left. You don't ever listen. Blah, 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 blah. But one day you're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna go left, and then he's gonna be like, oh, you know what? You're right. And I appreciate you for not going off on me this time. So next time you say go left, we're gonna go left. If you really see it, we're gonna go left. But that's where the patience comes in.
right,
And that's like we talked about, that's where you realize, all right, we're in this for the long haul. So even if we go right this time, hopefully one day we just gonna go left.
right.
You know what I mean?
And
And so
then with that, also with you not getting upset with him or her, and you just like, okay, well, and then they turn around and you're not doing the whole I told you it was down here the first time. When you say left next time, he or she is gonna be like, you know what? I'm just gonna take this left because you might be right. And
yeah,
even if you're not, you probably are. Instead of I ain't even going that way because I know you're gonna be like you said, I said. Da, 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 da." So mutual respect is important too.
absolutely.
Respect of her feelings and a respect of his masculinity.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense. If y'all got that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. Question marks. Did you have anything you wanted to say?
No,
Oh, for some reason I did not think you're on there.
I'm here.
Um, do you remember some of the questions we asked before?
We asked a lot. I mean, it was good though.
I'll watch it.
Do your parents get a key to your house?
Yes, yes.
Why?
My sisters have access to my house. So definitely my parents because my house is their house. They can come in and go as they want. I'm not doing anything that they can't know about.
What if you're
And
married?
yeah, my dad did my dad have a key to my house? Well, I've always had a code. You could put a code in. So everybody's always had a code, the number to my house. Yeah.
Why do you feel? And it's funny because of course, we have the same parents. So why do you believe mommy and daddy can have the same a key to your house? Why are you comfortable with them having a key to your house?
Because I'm not doing anything illegal, unethical, immoral. Like I'm not doing nothing wrong. If I'm married and I'm walking around with my clothes off, first off, they already seen it. It just look a little different now, but I feel like I'm married, and I don't, and I feel like my parents respect me enough not to come over without telling me anyway. Like my mom always asks, "Can I come over?" And it's like, "Mom, you don't have to ask that question." So I don't feel like they would stumble upon anything anyway. If they're coming to my house, it's an emergency. Like it's a real reason they're coming inside my house and didn't tell me.
And
Now my sisters, on the other hand, I will come home and Brandy will be sitting in my living room watching TV. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Popcorn.
I mean, I have to define that your access is emergent only.
And even still.
Yeah, Leader. Yeah. Mm-mm.
That's those are valid points. That's good.
But you wouldn't give your mom a key?
No.
Really?
You said that quickly. Quickly.
No, she ain't get no key. I'll open it up when you get here. I'll open the door.
Wow.
I mean, those are valid points, but like I don't see when she would need to open the door herself.
Oh. What about an emergency?
I mean,
you'll crawl to the door.
Those are valid points. Maybe I will reconsider because my mom's not gonna. She's just not gonna pull up out of nowhere. Just be like, "Hey, open the door."
I'm 5 minutes from you.
Nah, she ain't gonna do that. But I don't know. I never thought about it.
And it's funny because I said the exact same thing. I'm like, my mom, and they're not gonna pop up. I feel like they created boundaries for us, for themselves. So I was like, they're not just gonna pop up. And if they do pop up, and me and my husband in the mirror, we on a mission. Close the door. We'll call you when we're done.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. I can't even think of them.
You asked about friends.
Oh, yes. Single friends. What if you're how do you maintain a relationship when your partner has a bunch of single friends?
I think I don't see anything wrong with that. I think I don't see anything wrong with that. I feel like everybody's at a different stage in their life. Because what if their friends were married at one point and then they became single? They got divorced or their spouse passed. Like, do you now chuck that man out of the window? No. So I feel like people go through stages, and we encourage, on the flip side, if I'm dating a guy, right, and we're not married yet, I would love for him to have married friends to learn from. So why would I deny that single friend the opportunity to have a married friend to glean from? I don't think that it's always like, oh, they're trying to pull him back into them streets. Not everybody's like that and then living their best life with the lower part of their body. Like I just feel like, I think that hopefully whoever I'm with is wise enough. Hopefully his friends are a reflection of him and they're all kind of like him. And I'm not trying to be with, I wouldn't marry somebody that's crazy, y'all get what I'm trying to say.
Nah, Mark coming in with the wisdom.
Right, because I definitely didn't think about like having my, I don't know the word, my dude having married friends. So why would I prevent someone else from having a married friend that's doing it right? That's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Thank you, guys.
No, and like I said, like, when I first got married, I felt like I did have to, for a season, like, stop talking to single friends. I wanted to solidify the unit between me and Alina. But now that doesn't mean I cut you off entirely. But for a season of time, like, I need to focus on my wife. We'll still talk, but I need to get my mind in marriage mode. But if I'm married 10 years, like, I feel like I'm super established. I can go out with my single friends and chill. You know what I mean? And nothing like crazy is going to happen. And like that's a great point. It depends how mature they are, and hopefully they are a reflection of you. Maybe I just had some ratchet friends, Brandy. Maybe that was my fault.
Right,
I
exactly. I was
had to
thinking
cut
that when
them
you
off.
said that you had to cut
I
them off.
had to
I'm
cut them
thinking
off.
there's
It
a
was my
reason.
fault. I see it now. I'm at fault.
I'm the
Shit.
problem. Am I
I
the
was the
drama?
problem. I
I'm the
was
problem.
I was the drama. Wow. Okay.
And you turned your life around. Mm, proud of
Hopefully.
you. Proud of you. Not just give your mama a key to the house and you'd be good to go. The permission first. Talk to your wife first.
Right.
Yeah. You
But
talked about you asked about the question, parents' influence, maintaining a relationship and having the in-laws, and
oh
how did you
yeah.
phrase that?
Oh yeah, you have maintain a relationship where your in-laws are involved in your relationship. I think was that what it was?
Yeah.
Shoot, that's a trigger, y'all. How do you maintain a relationship when your in-laws are involved? I think that that's a recipe for disaster. I think that, and I said this before on one of your broadcasts. My mom told me when I got married, she said, Ash, it's some things you can't tell me. She said, you have to leave me out of it. She said, because you're going to go back and forgive and love him like nothing ever happened, but I'm not going to forget. And I listened to my mom and I respected that. I believed what she said and I kept my mom out of it. I kept my everybody out of it. When I was going through divorce, everybody was like, "What?" That's how used to I was keeping y'all out of my business. I didn't say a word. And on the other side, though, my God, them people was they was interesting, and they I my in my I, we here now. My in law, one in particular, played a big part in why I'm divorced today. Was very instrumental in my divorce today. And I wish, and that's even something that my ex said. He said, I wish I would have kept my, I'm not going to say which in law, out of our relationship. He said, I wish I would have never told her anything. I'll tell you that part. I wish I would have never told her anything. And yeah.
I had mentioned about where um if he I was making some Rice Krispie treats and his mom was just making comments about don't do this, but she wasn't talking to me, although I was making it. And I was like, if you can't stand up to your mom about something so small, but like, mom, she got this, then that's the issue. You need to be able
Right.
to stand up to your mom in a respectful manner. You got to have my back, like, or it's gonna be ongoing and it was ongoing for the whole relationship, and it was just like, and then Dr. Jackson said, um, she's like, and that's why a lot of females are like, is his mom alive?
Stop. She heard me say that because that is a non-negotiable moving forward. No, it's not. It is a negotiable. But I feel that way. It's like, dang, it's just like, man, because women are beasts. Oh, I mean, and I feel like that's on both ends. Because I remember when Leroy and Baby Roy, when he got in relationships back in the day, I remember it was one particular person he was talking to, and I remember I growled under my breath. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, what's wrong with you? I just felt so territorial. Is it that's the
Mm,
word? for him. Like I was like, I felt like I had to protect him from this girl. And I'm like, I am a lioness about Leroy, about my cousin. And I realized that women do have that, but it needs to be done in a healthy way. And people need to back up. Like if he's like, Ash, get out of this, I need to be able to say, okay, cool, I respect that.
Yeah, I was that
But
way with that.
you said what?
I was that way with that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I do feel like I feel like I do question like, okay, what females are on his side of the family? Like that is something I do think about. Like what
Yeah,
female? Because dudes on the, the dad and the brothers, they're like, okay, whatever, But those women, us women, are like, wait, hold on.
are you
Like you
good
gotta
enough?
feel right. I gotta feel you.
Right. That's what be like. Bring her by me. Bring her by me. I tell you if she all right. Bring her by me.
And that's how I am with mama. Because like I want the dude I'm talking to meet mom. Cause she'll call it so quick
Oh,
and
she called. Yeah.
it'll save me so much time and heartache and drama. And she's like, Ash, not the one, Ash.
Right.
He's a storyteller. And that's a nice way of saying he's a liar.
Hmm.
So yeah.
We're talking about my mom's discernment when it comes to meeting people. You take them around her, and she'll be like, "I like him," or "I don't like him," and it's like, if she don't like him, then I don't like you.
I've never heard she never said that she didn't like somebody to me. But
I
I
mean, not in
remember
those words.
because I remember she said to, about I ain't gonna call no names, but one dude, because everybody on here know him, that'll let him know we gonna talk about.
Oh
She
Lord.
said she met him and she said he's not strong enough. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know what that meant,
Oh,
because she's speaking
I
real
know
I
who
know.
light.
I know who you talking about.
She don't define it. And then then the other dude at college, she said, he's an excuse maker.
I know him too.
That part. And then the one I ended up being with, she gave glowing reviews about him. And she still likes him to this day. My ex-husband, she still likes him to this day. But and he's a good guy. I ain't gonna knock him. But yeah, everybody I've been with, she called him out. And she was only around him for about 5 minutes, if that.
That's it.
If that. And sure enough, she was right.
I remember my last relationship. She gave him a hug, and she said, "Okay." I was like, "Ooh." She didn't say
Man,
take care. She didn't say it was nice to meet you. She said,
He
"Okay."
didn't say see you later either.
No, and I was like, "Oh, well."
he ain't strong enough. Ah man, I know.
He said it all.
I know.
We know who you are.
Oh snap.
But
So,
yeah, and I was saying how, and I like that my parents set boundaries for themselves, for themselves, because they know how they are. And I was telling them about how daddy, he was like, if he's pretty impartial to the point where sometimes you're like, man, be on my side once.
yeah.
But what I think we had some other questions in there. I don't remember exactly what they were, but we talked to
Uh,
we used,
Auntie Tina says that about Grandma Betty,
what's that?
how she didn't take sides in her marriage. And she would say sometimes she wanted her to say Tina's right. Or but she didn't do that. Even she didn't take her son's side, she didn't take her side. She took the side of right. And she was just kind of like, there's things that you could have done better in this on both ends. And she said, just sometimes she wanted to say, no, you shouldn't do this, or she wanted somebody to champion her, and she said she would not do it, but that made me respect her in a different way. And she always says we're Ruth and Naomi, like I gained
Yeah.
such a love for her. And she talked about the time um when Uncle Ryan came in with boots on and had mud, and she was like, why would you do that? And she just mopped this floor. But she said, she stayed solid to what was right. But I think that that's a thing that we've all dealt with. That was my point. Because my mom, dad, they don't take sides, because I think that that's back to the in-laws. That's very dangerous when you start taking sides, especially when your side is always for your child.
Mm.
Like, come on now, you could see that this dude was clearly wrong in this situation, but because you gave birth to him, or because he's in your bloodline,
You don't
you're
want him to
making
look
him
bad.
feel right, which is breaking up, or not breaking up, but tearing down pieces in this house. So, yeah. But anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I look crazy, y'all. That's on my thing off. I don't have a string. Pray for me.
You have a strength to what?
To put something together, to be appealing, to be
Girl,
show ready.
I ain't
So
sure
ready.
ready. But yeah, I don't think I think yeah, I don't want to sit here and go through all these questions I had
Yeah,
that
sorry I
randomly
was
popped
late.
up. Oh, do you think can you take advice? Can you take advice? How was it phrased? Come on, you know what I'm trying to say.
She gonna say yes because she's very wise. Can you take? I think the question was phrased something like, "Could you take relationship advice from single friends or marital advice from single
Yes, there
friends?"
it is.
Marital advice from single friends?
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna say yes.
Why?
And without the caveat of somebody being deceased, uh, just a straight single friend.
I'm gonna say yes because, and I'm gonna say because this is weird, but in my psychology class, they said that once you've done something enough, you become numb to it. Like you can't see it anymore. So, and I learned this when I had children. So, well, I experienced it when I had children. So a dog comes by and you have your 1 year old. That 1 year old sees everything about the dog. They see the fur, the ears, because they're looking at it for the first time. They've never experienced it. We just see a dog. We don't pay attention that it's furry. We don't care. All of that stuff about the dog is dead to us because we've experienced it so much. So I would say yes, because a single person has not experienced it. So they're looking at it through a neutral lens. They're looking at it through a quote unquote virgin lens. So they're looking at it differently than how, because I'm numb to it. I've been in it. I've done it so much that I can't see the good about it. I can't see the little parts about it. So a single friend, especially if they want it, they can see my marriage better than I can sometimes. Like, girl, maybe you shouldn't have did that, because they're like, well, would I have done that? Or what, they want to be in that position. So it depends on what it is. I could take advice.
We might have been raised by the same people. 'Cause I
You
said the
said yeah
same
too?
thing. I said, so, yeah, like they want what I have. So they want me a real friend, a real thing. Like they want the success of my relationship.
Right. Yeah.
And then the question that stemmed from that was, can people without children give you advice on children?
Oh gosh. No, that's different. And
That's
no,
different.
it depends on what the advice is. Because Lolita gives solid advice. I think Lolita be killing it. Because I'm like, damn, I could have did better. Like, you know, the other day she said, we was talking about gosh, man, oh, responsibility, like children being lazy, and my children want to do something. And I'm like, man, there's children with no home, and they don't have nowhere to go, and they would love to be in your position to be able to clean up, And then, but Lita says there are children in other countries. Oh, because they was watching TV or something like that. She said there are children in other countries building that TV that you're watching. They're building those games that you're playing. They're so smart and advanced that like, look what you could do with your mind. I'm trying to say there's kids dumber than you, like I'm trying to dumb down. But she's like, she took the approach that there are kids better, not better, but more advanced than you. So you should try to level up. Like this is the reason to level up so you can be competitive. I'm trying to say level up so you're not as bad as the other ones. So
Yeah.
her advice, like her perspective, is really good. But when it comes to dealing with a child on a day-to-day basis, no, I can't take advice. You're not going because I'm a yeller. Lord pray y'all pray for me. But they're like, you shouldn't talk to them kids like that. And it's like, be quiet. I have 4 of them who tag team me because they're talking so much. One will stop talking, the other one start right up. Like they, I'm telling like they just know. Like I'm telling, it's all day long. And I know I'm talking a lot, but we were in Subway the other day. One of them was laying on me. We're in line. I'm holding my weight, and my girls are getting big. You know, they're preteens, teenagers. One of them laying on me, and then she gets up, and I'm like, "Whoo!" The other one lays right on the other side. I'm like, God. And I asked, I said, "Are y'all doing this on purpose? Like, leave me alone." I said, "With y'all every day, all day. Y'all don't get tired of me, cause I get tired of y'all." So in my and the people that got the best advice seem to come around when I'm most aggravated, cause I'm not yelling all the time now, but y'all just come around at the worst times. So that's a yes and no.
I'm with you. I'm a straight no though. Straight no. You
Yeah, he
ain't
was
telling
like,
me
no.
nothing. You ain't telling me nothing. But you know what? I think y'all are converting me a little bit. There's some truth to that. Like with somebody that has a different perspective, and again, I think maturity level is the biggest thing out of all this.
Yeah.
If you have somebody that's really just objective, like y'all say, that can really just give you solid advice. Hey, you know, there are children building TVs. What y'all need to learn how to build a TV. That'll
Yeah.
give y'all something to do.
Yeah.
Go on YouTube, learn how to build a TV.
You
But
want to watch TV, make one.
yeah, um, this an interesting conversation.
I try because I'm not a male, obviously, but I think I try to give you kids solid advice. Like I try to be objective. I try not to be one-sided or in love with you so much that I can't be honest with y'all. Like I try to be, especially with those that I'm close with, not just family but friends. I try because I want y'all to win, even though my marriage wasn't successful. I want y'all to have a successful marriage. So I would hope that y'all wouldn't become deaf to my advice or deaf to my advice because I wasn't successful. I learned a lot and I will only give you good, advice that will help, not to hurt. And so and I think that that's my position when it comes to people who are not in my position. It's not always I can't receive from you because you're not in my position or you didn't get where I am. Now, one person I will not take advice from is somebody who is not financially. I'm not taking financial advice from someone who's never owned a car, a house, or anything like that. Now that I draw the line on financial advice, unless you had it and you lost it, because that's different. But if you've never gotten to the level, and I'm not at the high level,
Right.
but my level, I'm not taking advice from you. I draw the line there. That's probably the only kind of people I can't take advice from.
You,
I feel like you need to be at the level where I want to be. You can't even be at my level. I already made my level.
right,
I'm good at my level. I need you to
right.
be at a level, the next level I'm trying to get to or better.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I was only thinking from the standpoint of single friends that's never been married. But you can learn a lot from a divorced
Yeah.
Right.
couple. You can learn a lot. You can learn a lot, and so those are valid points too. I was just coming from the point like you ain't never had no kids and you ain't never been married. Don't talk to me about nothing.
Oh, I feel attacked. I feel deeply attacked now. I'm just gonna mute myself.
just don't even send me a text.
Right. It's
No, I'm
tough,
just playing.
man.
I'm just playing.
But them kids though, that's a different thing. It's hard.
And
Now that's hard
sleep.
to take advice from people who don't have children. That's tough because you don't understand. You don't understand a lot that goes into raising a child. You don't understand the love that you have and the overwhelming emotions that you have for this being that you're willing to do a lot of things you never thought you would do, and you're busting your butt, breaking your back to keep something alive, that and you understand that they're going to get older one day, and heaven forbid they become disrespectful. But this is the roll of the dice. You got to keep going. It's a lot. It's a lot of questions that are asked. It's a mental game. It's a physical game. It's a spiritual game, and raising children. So it is hard to listen to somebody who doesn't have any, because you don't know, you're living a single free life. To me, that they don't have stress. People that don't have children shouldn't be stressed out. I get it. I get it. I get it. Y'all have your own stresses. My hands are up. But there's a level to this thing. Kids just add a whole nother ball game. It's a whole nother game. But I could take advice depending on what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you can say whatever you want. Am I gonna listen to it? I don't know.
Like you said, you take you take the pieces that relate that you can take, and you leave the rest.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about multiples too. People that have one child, it's hard for me to, like, when they're talking, it's like, oh, okay. Or 2 or 3, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I want you to have 4, like 40, and I'm like, okay, I can, we're on the same page. But if you cry, I mean, God bless everybody. But one child and you about to break down, I'm like, come on now. Come on now. Don't try to tell me how to raise 4 and you over here struggling with your one.
Yeah.
Or if you have, and I don't have kids, or if you have one kid and you're like, oh, it's so easy. Oh, he or she does this, 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 this. I'm like, yeah, that's easy to do with one kid. All your money is going to that one kid. All of your attention is to that one kid. But when you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, them things, it's different. And I don't have kids. I'm like, and I can see that.
Yeah. And I think it's a level of guilt also that parents have, or maybe it's just me, but especially when you have multiple children, because you realize, if I can keep 4 of them alive, imagine what I could do with one. Like, they could have had a lot, or 2, or even 3. So it's like you kind of feel guilty that you're not giving them everything they probably could have gotten, and they're not getting all the time, maybe all of the attention. Mm-hmm. And a doctor had to tell me when I was pregnant with my 3rd child, she said, oh, you're going to have 3 little babies. You're going to have 3 babies. I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to have 1 baby. She said, no, you're going to have 3 babies, because they were 2, 1, and I was about to have the other one. And I said, no, them kids grown. She's like, no, Mom, they're babies. And I prayed, and I thank God it was for a long time. And even today, I'm thankful for that conversation, because I was pushing them away. Once the next one came, they were grown to me. But I had to go back and coddle them, give them the lap time and the nurturing that they needed, because I was pushing them. And had she not said that, my kids probably would be wearing black coats right now, just being very angry, because they would have missed out on them baby steps, those baby moments.
Coats.
I mean, they'd have been rough. But I went back
in the gang,
and leaders of the gang. I went back and was able to give them the love that a baby needed. So there's guilt that comes along with it. For me.
Yeah. Having 6 is
my God.
I don't even know what to think. I just be in it.
Yeah.
and just, and then I temperature check, hey, you feel like Daddy spent enough time with you? You good? You need anything?
That's good.
You know what I mean? Every once in a while, like I do that, because I know individual time is important.
Yeah.
But you'll like, me and my wife, we have this little joke, but we feel like we got 3 group of kids, right? The first group is Ray and the twins. They're 2 years apart. They're all boys. They can play with each other all day. The twins can definitely play with each other all day by themselves. They don't need anybody. Ray likes that physical time with, somebody to play with. But the boys, that's group one. Then you have my daughter and then my second son. They 2 years apart, so they play together all the time. Then you have my youngest daughter. So it's like you start seeing that type. You start seeing that type of stuff too. That way you can kind of maneuver through that. But it's I could, if I just had one, I wouldn't have it any other way. Even though it's
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
I still wouldn't have it any other way. I would still have 6 children, and life is chaotic and it's loud here, but it's a lot of love. You know what I mean? And everybody's good. You know, nobody's depressed. Um, they get they having a lot of fun. They have their games. Family time, like we talked about, and maintaining a relationship. It goes with the family as well, with the children, and make sure that intentional time is there. And so, but I don't even think about it anymore. I just do it at this point, and just prayerfully, I'm doing it right. We'll see in 18 years
Yeah.
what kind of job I
Excellent.
did.
That is
And
right.
and I would if I had a bit of advice, I would say don't look up. Stay in.
Yeah,
'Cause I think when
that
I looked up, that's when everything went wrong. When I tried to, think about my life and step outside of the bubble that I was in with my family, with my husband, and I wanted to focus on Ashley, and I was encouraging him to focus on him. That was a big decline. I wish I would have stayed in my bubble, not listen to anybody, and mind my business, because I probably would still be married today. And
wow.
my my his grandmother, Patricia, she said, because I was crying about my house is always dirty, it's not dirty but messy, like it was always stuff around. And she said, well, tell people don't come over. If they can't understand you have children, they don't need to come to your house. That helped me so much. Because why am I pressured to perform or to act like I don't have children? I have 4 children, 3 in diapers and one in pull ups. My house should be messy. My house should have toys. My house should have stuff. And that helped me. And I would encourage you, never look up. Keep your head down to all them children at that house, and then enjoy you and your wife.
Man, that's real talk. Cause my house is messy. It's stuff all over the place.
Yeah, it
And
should be.
yeah, like we don't. It's not like you're embarrassed, but it's just like, yo, certain people ain't gonna understand this season of our lives like that.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, don't even come over right
Right.
now.
Don't
Like,
even come
and
over.
huh?
Yeah, I agree. Don't even come over. If you can't love me and understand that it's a lot of children around here, don't, because nobody going to no daycare and it's immaculate. Get out of here.
That's
Shoot.
real talk. See, I could take advice. That's real talk though. But again, that's coming from somebody who's been married and has
And
multiple
has kids.
children. Like, yeah, that's valuable. That's a gem. Cause that's definitely, and like but our stuff all over the place.
Hmm.
But we good, you know. Man, that's real talk. Don't look up.
It ain't gonna change either, because I got 3 loads of clothes on my couch right now. It's a lot of people over here. We wash the clothes all the time. We wash them more than we could,
That's more
faster
than
than we
three
could put up.
loads.
You say, oh, because you did it right.
Yes.
I appreciate you. We went out of town. I came back to, even though the clothes weren't folded, I said,
Then
at
they
least she
show ain't
washed
gonna
them.
be folded
At
either.
least she washed them. But we wear them faster than we can put them up. So it's hard. It is what it is. Don't come to my house. I love y'all though.
Wow, that's real
Just don't
talk.
come. Oh, I mean,
That's real talk. Wow.
but yeah.
So I'm glad that we gave some relationship advice. Um, I want to end it by talking about the Supreme Court
Mm.
What about it?
and the decision that they made about colleges. They no longer have to consider race in their admissions. So they did away with affirmative action in the
Right.
collegiate
Yeah.
system. Any thoughts on that?
Uh, I'm a person like I'm gonna make my own way regardless. So I don't know. I don't know if I get blocked in a certain um, arena, I'll figure another way, and I'll be successful no matter what. That's how I feel about it. But that's just me. I don't have like a general statement that covers a whole bunch of other people that aren't like the same personality as me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't graduate college, but I'm still like I knew I was going to figure it out. Um, but I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not. I my feelings are not race based. Like I don't think that. Like I don't feel. I don't have a negative feeling towards it. I don't feel like, oh, look what they're doing. You know, the black people or people. I can't say people that when people say of color or brown skin. Like, come on, man.
The
But anyway,
global majority.
but I feel like the only because I feel like we're at a time where black people can perform. They have equal education for the most part on the lower levels in public schools. Um, in Florida, and I know people don't want to hear this, but with the Step Up program, it's amazing. And because if you get approved, if you have low income, you get approved, you don't have to reapply. Your child can go all the way through high school in private school on the state of Florida's dime. So there are opportunities out there, and I think that we have to focus on parenting and make education a priority in your household. Make sure your child is getting certain grades and are participating in certain activities, and doing their part to make it harder to say no. You can't get into this school. But the only negative where I would say that it's not right is if we're doing away with affirmative action, do away with women's rights too. Don't have any women programs, because women get grants for certain just for being a woman. Small businesses, a woman owned small business, like you get certain advances. Do away with all of it. That's my issue. Don't do away with what helps just black people. Do away with all of it. And the fact that they didn't, that bothers me.
So they technically did do away with diversity, equality, and inclusion,
Hmm.
which means you have to hire um, a certain number of minorities, and those programs mostly benefited white women. So now you can have a company of all men. They also have, I'm not sure if it's countrywide or in certain states, where you do not have to serve someone that's a part of the LGBT community. You can deny them service. My issue with it is that it's a step toward completely alienating black people. That's my issue. If you don't want to accept, I feel like HBCUs are about to be on and popping right now. Like, we should have been supporting those anyway. However, they're about to really minimize the reach that black people have. That's my only issue with it.
I look at it as a reset. Like I look at it as because I
A
feel like
reset.
America is a big experiment anyway. I feel like we're all our little lab mice. So like, well, let's try this on this group of people and see what happens. I just feel like this is a big joke anyway. But I feel like a lot of things happen, a lot of laws change, a lot of, just a lot of inclusion happen. So now it's like, wait, we don't like the way this is going. Let's go back and start over. Let's take away, let's make it a man, like let's go back to come back forward. Trying to, change it by going back, if that makes any sense. Because that's all it is, just going back to close to the what the laws were in slavery time or how things were during, slaves, women didn't have rights or whatever. But I didn't take it to heart. Not to heart, but I didn't like make that a big part of my day when I heard about it. About the Supreme Court overthrowing it, and it was talking about the judges, blah blah. I didn't take it like, oh man. I just heard it and kept moving. I got other things to think about. I guess because I have multiple children. Let me focus on if they're alive today. Like, let me keep them alive another day.
Well, I hope it motivates us to create more entrepreneurs, teach our kids about business, own your own thing. You ain't even
Yeah.
got. I look. I don't
Right.
believe college is for everybody. If
Yeah.
I could have not gone to college, I would have not. But my mother is who my mother is. Um, I think there are the only thing people need to go to school for is like law, medicine, that kind of stuff. And even with law, you can teach yourself law,
Yeah.
business. Why are you going to school for business? Go work at a business, on the job training. So hopefully we're teaching our kids how to have passive income and not have to work for anybody. So college and no, you get to go.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was coming from. On that entrepreneurial side. Yeah, if you want to be a lawyer, yeah, go to school. If you want to be a doctor, go to school. If you want to learn how to build bridges, go to school, please. Right?
Yeah,
Um,
please. If you build a bridge, please.
yeah, but for the other things, like yeah, if you like Ashley said, it's on the parents to teach them why education is important, and also just owning your own business. That way, you have the most control anyway. That way, nobody can come in and say, "Hey, you have to do this," or "You got to be subjected to our rules." Nah, I make my own rules because this is my business, and I'm adding value, so I control this. And so I think and times are changing, um, where information is a lot more accessible anyway. And so I think that dynamic is changing. Um,
Right.
but yeah, that's yeah,
And I think that there's a level of parenting where it's not your life. And I'm not, my future is not just my future. So I feel like I have an obligation to uh, gain enough wealth where I can pass it down or start establishing it for my child. I think a lot of parents now, it's like, well, it's my money, I'm going to use it, YOLO, whatever. But no, you have to make some smart choices and some smart investments and create those accounts and those credit lines for your children while you have the opportunity to. And my, even though my girls, because their dad is retired from the military, they get college for free. But they, if you ask any of them, they understand they do not have to go to college. If that's not what you want to do, if that's not the path that you feel you're going to take, don't do that. You know, I want you to, as long, and my three things, as long as what you choose to do is not immoral, unethical, or unlawful, you're good to go. Like, go explore the world. And I pray that I do my part, that I have set you up for a good enough foundation to be confident to do those things, to be confident to start a business, because you have a little financial backing that your dad and I have worked for. You know, I think that there's more to living your life than what the laws of the land are. You have to do something different within your household. There has to be some conversations within your household. And that starts immediately. Like the moment you start having children, you can start talking, and that child, you might not feel that that child understands, but just as sure as they learn a new word every day, they're hearing what you're saying. So putting that in them daily, and my girls know they have an account that they will get when they turn 18 if they move out of my house. And that money, they can do what they want. The only thing you ask any of my girls, the only thing you cannot do with that money is give it to your knucklehead boyfriend.
I need to
Don't
say
spend
that.
no money on no boy. I'm telling you, when we're driving and I see a boy and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon and there's some teenagers on outside their house, I point them out. That's not boyfriend material. What is he doing? That why is he able to be out here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? If
Mm.
he's working for himself, go in the house and work. And I want to say this, I'm done. And I want I think that a big thing that we need to start teaching our children and ourselves is not to be an entrepreneur. because I don't want to be self-employed, because that means I'm the only person working this job. If I can't work it, it falls. I want to employ people. That's what really owning a business is, where you don't have to show up to work and your business still survives. I'm not there yet, but that's the goal, to become out, to get out of your own business and not just be the business. Because if I
So you
don't
want to be a
if I
business
don't take
owner, not
pictures,
self-employed.
right, I want to be a business owner and not self-employed. Because if I don't shoot pictures and if I don't email these clients, it don't get done.
Mm-hmm.
And heaven forbid, I can't do it. I need to have people under me that's doing it. That's the level up that I'm trying to make.
Right.
It's real talk.
That's only spent 15 minutes to talk about that, and we were like literally on time. Good for you guys. Good job. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Anything you got going? Anything you want to mention? Are we pregnant with number 7 yet?
Oh no,
Okay.
not yet. Probably
Okay.
another year. Probably another year.
All
So
right.
that is the goal, to keep going. Question mark.
You said
Yeah,
10.
Alina,
Really?
yeah, she said we can't stop at 6, so at least number 7 coming.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, just make more money, get a bigger spot, make sure they got enough space, make sure they fed.
RJ, if you wanted us to pray for you, all you had to do was say pray for us. You don't gotta keep having kids, because you showed on my prayer list. I be praying your strength in the Lord. I pray you live forever, sir. I do. I be praying for y'all. You just say, Ezra, I want you to pray for me. You have to have all these kids.
And it's so crazy because as much kids as I have right now, I can't wait to become an uncle. Like, hey, yo, bring all the kids around the house. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know where it really came from, but it's just something that, we good, we good, and we still travel, we still have our vacations. It's like, you know what? Even though we have children, this is not going to be a burden. We're going to do
Yeah.
everything we want to do,
And I
and
just
so
want to put out there that I am, for all of you that don't know, I am a realtor. If you're looking for a house for a growing family, I am a realtor in the state of Florida,
absolutely.
Georgia, and Alabama, just in case.
Amen. And children are not a burden. Because my child asked me that, Mom, if you didn't have children, what would you have been able to do? And she said she heard some guy say he could have been whatever if he didn't have children. And I'm like, no, that dude just couldn't do it. Because children are
Right.
not an excuse on why you can't be what you want to be. If anything, they'll propel you to get where you're trying to go. Like, they're a motivator. Like, they make you run harder, faster. They make you stronger than you thought you could be. So people that do that, it just really bothers me. Oh, I had children, so I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. And you could have still vacation if you would have managed your money and did whatever, or worked harder. Like, stop with your drama. People kill me with that.
Agreed. There's one guy, he only has one son, but he got end up going to school, getting 2 masters and a PhD. You can do it. You just
Yeah,
gotta budget your time,
that's
budget
it.
your finances, and budget your mental.
Yeah.
That's it. You'll be all right.
And my friend, she doing it. Shout out to Chanel. She has her daughter. Her daughter has everything she could want. This girl went to school, kept going to school, and just is doing the dang thing. I feel like there's no excuse. Children are not an excuse.
No. Mm-mm.
And I was telling my girls on the way home tonight that I'm honored to be their mom. Like, I'm so proud to be their mom. Like, they are the highlights of my life. I could not imagine my life without any of them. My second daughter, she'll say, "Ma, you should stop that too." And I'm like, I wouldn't have been complete. I wouldn't have been complete. I wouldn't know. I feel like life couldn't be good as it is without them. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like every last one of them, I needed it. Like, I need them.
Yep.
I told my mom, I was like, I get it, Mom. I get it why you had a fourth one. Perfection came in number 3, and you thought you could do it again. You couldn't, but I commend your trying.
I'm the Joseph in this family. The coat of many colors. But
I love it.
yeah, I appreciate y'all starting over a little bit for me. But I ain't gonna belong the time. That's what they say in church. I ain't gonna belong the time.
I say believer. But anyhow, I have next week's topic, but I just don't know what it is. So thank you for joining, everybody. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Oh, I do have something going on. I ain't get to say what I got going on.
Oh, action.
So, my company, Action Photography, it is a self-employed business at this point. I have taken on social media content. So I help companies build their social media with original visual content, so video, photography, and drone work. And I also will help manage that account month to month. So if you know any businesses or small owned businesses, I would love the opportunity to get to know them. And if you make the introduction, that would be great.
Okay, that's dope.
Because I always say visual content is king. Photos and video, we're not going anywhere. But social media is a throne that he sits on. So if your business is not active on social media platforms, it doesn't exist. And it's one thing to be posting just to post. But if you're not getting those engagements, you're wasting your time. So as a certified social media strategist, I would definitely help make sure they receive the engagements and their business is growing in the direction that they want it to grow. Cool. That's it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
If you'd like to add that to the comments, please do. Thank you for joining today. If you have any questions that you have in your mind, you can always share them with me. That would be great. Okay? That's to y'all. That's to both of y'all and the people watching. So thanks again.
That was fun.
Good night.
Appreciate you.
Good night. I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Thank you for joining. We appreciate it. Make sure you check out ashmfotalk.com. I believe is that the right website? Let me make sure the right website. Okay, nope, that's not the right website. Let's put up the right website. It's going to be ashmphotography.com. I want you to have that. Thank you for joining. We will see you next week. Every week is a good week to come join us. Okay.